Welcome to part 3 of Competency 1 practice. In this video, we will continue working with properties of real numbers. Okay, for this video, we will use the commutative property of addition, the commutative property of multiplication, associative property of addition, and also of multiplication. And lastly, the distributive property. Very common properties used in mathematics, although we don't always identify them when we are using them. Okay, so let's go to number 1. Okay, here. Which expression is equivalent to, in parentheses, x minus 3 times 4? Okay, and that's what it means when a number is outside of a parentheses. That's multiplication. So what do we need to do here? Well, let's look at what this really means. This means the 4 will be times each element inside the parentheses, and we keep the subtraction. Okay, so let's look at A. Well, A, that doesn't multiply 3 times 4, so I'm going to say that doesn't work. B obviously doesn't make sense. C, we forget to distribute the 4 times x, so that doesn't work. So what we have is D, and that is 4 times the x, then your subtraction, and then 3 times 4. Basic distribution. Just because the 4 is behind the parentheses doesn't change the distributive law. Okay, number 2. Which property of numbers is illustrated, the word is missing, is illustrated by, hang on, let me type that in. Bear with me here. Is illustrated by parentheses, -5 plus 6 plus 13 equals -5 plus, in parentheses, 6 plus 13. Okay, I want to point out one thing here. The negatives or the subtraction, the -5, that is still addition, because the way the properties are actually stated, if you've taken these courses in depth, it is stating that subtraction or negative values, you're actually adding a negative, okay? So in this case, everything we're doing is addition. There is no multiplication, okay? What we have is, what do we do first? Well, on the left-hand side, we're going to take -5 plus 6, okay? On the right-hand side, they're saying 6 plus the 13. Okay, well, the position of the numbers is not changed. So that tells me that we are not using the commutative property at all. Okay? Nor do we have, in option B, we do not have multiplication. In option C, yes, I agree it's associative, and yes, I agree it's addition. So I would say C is what we want. Let's go to D. Associative property, yes. Of multiplication, no. There is no multiplication in our situation. So I would mark out D and select C. Okay, let's go to number 3. Which two properties of numbers are illustrated by the following sequences? Okay, so what do they give me first? Well, looks like we have 3 expressions, and the first one we see compared to the second one in the middle, that's associative. The numbers are in the same order. However, which ones that are choose to multiply first, that's going to change. So that's associative and it's multiplication. Okay. Now, if we compare the middle expression to the last expression, yes, we still have associativity, but within the parentheses, we have the commutative situation, which means the numbers switch places, okay? And everything involved is multiplication. So that tells me option A, where it talks about the commutative law of addition, will not be an option. However, B, it talks about commutative and its multiplication, and then associative law of multiplication. So I like B. Let's look at C. Associative law of addition. No, there's no addition. And same thing for D. Yeah, they change the associative law to multiplication, but then they say, oh, commutative law of addition. There is no addition. Therefore, let's go back to the one that I really liked, which was B. Okay, and that option is verified. Now, a little note, your calculator isn't going to necessarily help you with all these. You have to know the properties and laws. Okay, all right, let's look at number 4. Evaluate the expression -4 times 6 plus 9 using the distributive property. What does this mean? It means instead of just popping it in the calculator or adding 6 plus 9, we're going to multiply -4 to each option and keep the plus. Okay? Well, let's look. It says which of the following illustrates the approach. Okay, well, A does not. They added the 2. Well, okay, maybe it'll give us the correct value in the end, but it's not the correct approach. Let's look at the next one. Well, they just switched the position of the 9 and the 6. That's commutative addition over addition. So no, that's a commutative property of addition. So B won't work. Let's look at C. Well, no, because they didn't multiply -4 times the 9. See that? They left 9 alone. So C won't work. However, D gives us the correct value. Now, if you're unsure about any of these, sometimes like look at C or B. Well, B, actually A and B will give you the same answer as the expression given to us in the problem. But if you try C, it won't give you the same value, so you'd automatically be able to eliminate C. Okay? So using your calculator would help you slightly. All right, let's go to number 5. Okay. Isabel multiplied 11 by 3, then multiplied the answer by 5. She decided to first multiply 3 by 5 to get 15. Then she multiplied 11 by 15 to get 165. Which one of the following conclusion is valid concerning the steps Isabel took to solve the problem? Okay, so basically what Isabel did was she tried it 2 different ways. Well, what were the ways she tried it? Well, first she multiplied 11 by the 3, okay? And we'll pretend like I can write with this pen. Then she multiplied all of that times the 5. But then they say, okay, wait a minute, Isabel changed her mind. Okay, which Isabel can do if she wants. Well, what happened was the 11 is hanging out here. But then first, what she did is she said 3 times the 5. Then she multiplied by the 11. Okay, now if we put the 11 here, I'm going to highlight this. If we take this 11 and we moved it over here to the other side, we could have the commutative property too. But that's really not the way they said it. They said 11 by 15. And that verifies what I have written on the right-hand side. So let's take a look at our options. A, her answer is wrong. Is, well, let's put all this in the calculator and double check. If what we have by what they're stating is the same, then we know, and they're saying, well, both sides have to be 165. All right, let's just do it because the numbers could get dicey and weird and longer. So let's go ahead and try this in our calculator with this simpler one, okay? So we have parentheses, and that's 11 times 3, close your parentheses, then times your 5. Push enter, 165. Okay, but now let's do it differently. 11 times, and then your parentheses, and then 3 times the 5, close your parentheses, push enter, 165. Therefore, the answer is correct. So Isabel did her work correctly. So the two options A and C are marked out. Now, let's evaluate what she did. Did she use, or which operations did she use? Well, I see multiplication only, right? I see commutative property of multiplication for B, but let's look at D. D says her answer is correct and she used the associative property of multiplication. Yes, I see the multiplication. Which one did she use? We just talked, though, about, remember my highlighting I have there? The way that they wrote this right here, they kept it in that 11 by 15. That keeps it in the order that I wrote it, and therefore that's associative. Now, if they had said 15 by 11, yes, it would have been option B because of the way they wrote the problem. Option B is out, and our final conclusion is option D. All right. This is the last question in this particular video. I hope that you keep watching as we add more videos. If you are also interested in the 7 to 12 TExES exam, we have all those videos posted, and they're free for you. Please enjoy them. And thank you for those of you who've already subscribed and liked us and share us. And please look out for the next videos. Happy testing, everyone.